Go ahead. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Land Use and Planning. Today is the 12th, and it's 4:30, not 5:30, which is what I was thinking the meeting started, because I forgot.
I almost did that 2 weeks ago.
Central Time.
Yeah, it was one of those moments where
long-
I'm sitting at home, I'm like, oh, it's a good thing the meeting doesn't start at 4:30, and I'm like, oh, wait.
It was a long break.
Yeah, it was a long break. Okay, bear with me while I get this pulled up. All right. To start off, Dave would like to make a statement, would like a couple minutes. Actually, first, let's start it with approving December 8th, 2025 meeting minutes.
I move to approve.
And I will second. Thank you, Patty, for getting them together. Okay.
Jeremy, you can still come sit up here if you want.
Yeah.
I don't want to wait till I'm officially.
Okay.
Oh. Doesn't want to make any commitments yet.
I was just gonna take a minute up front and add, and mostly because I have a little bit of an update too. You can see by looking at this land use and planning meeting as well as the council agenda tomorrow night, that one topic that is not on there is the ice rink. However, I do anticipate that we are gonna have a request for a presentation for them to be in 2 weeks. And that doesn't mean the public is not welcome to still come tonight and come here for a city council meeting, but we still don't have a request that we're working with, and I anticipate that will be the case in a couple weeks. So just by way of public information, that's the latest and best information that I have on that topic.
Out of curiosity, was there any progress made in terms of a meeting or a public forum?
I think let's get the presentation before we do that. I don't want to have a discussion when we don't know what we're discussing.
Fair enough. Sounds good to me. Noted. Okay.
I have thought about having a separate, just kind of a general check-in and a less formal meet the mayor conversation probably over at the senior center.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't want it to be a discussion about that per se yet, if that's not what I think. I just kind of want to check all the other projects and make sure we're on the right page, that
Okay.
we're addressing, you know, because I know who reaches out to me with concerns and comments, but that doesn't mean it's everybody. So just anything I can do to make that easier.
Okie dokie. Gotcha. Yeah, just if you do, and when we do decide to do that, because I think it would be beneficial after we get a presentation, you did receive our note of what we would like to see in that presentation. So.
I did indeed, thank you.
Okay. Next up, I'm just searching for that. Request for temporary shed for soccer, for the soccer group, I'm assuming, at Chalet's Field.
Seeing not anybody there, I can speak to that as well.
Please do.
So this is one of those things that kind of falls into the whole process that you are working on.
Mm-hmm.
They have already come to Parks. So the short version is, and it's interesting because our wording actually describes it as private and commercial, and that's that. And I think that's not the best way to think about it.
Yep.
What it is building code says is if it is private, AKA more accurately, if it is for personal use, you can have up to 200 square feet for a portable shed. If it is not for personal use, then you can only have 120 square feet, AKA a 10 by 12. And so they had come in and originally wanted to put a 200-foot portable shed up there, which they cannot do because it would not be for personal use. Public and others would be going into it.
Mm-hmm.
And so their request was to put in a 120-foot portable shed. They did come to planning board, and I basically validated Parks Board. Sorry.
Thank you.
They came to Parks Board, and I took the opportunity to validate my understanding between what we have on the books from 2015 plus the conversation that you're working on, is that if it was going to be a portable shed, not a permanent structure, that was going to be something that was, if it's something portable, you're looking at me like I'm not explaining myself, that was going to be something that went to the Public Works Director. We didn't need to approve it as City Council. And Park said, yeah, that's where we were, and I said, I'm going to bring it up to Land Use and Planning and Council too, and just make sure we're saying, yep, go ahead and coordinate with with, Mike Maples on it. There were a couple people from the Parks Board that wanted to go up and kind of visit the site with them and kind of make suggestions and recommendations on where to put it, so it doesn't interfere with the view shed, but this is just for them to put balls and things that they carry up and down the hill every week at soccer, making it so they don't have to.
Has Brian or Mike put any, input in in terms of, is it gonna be problematic in any other way besides keep it temporary and we're good to go?
Yep, that was pretty much it. So Brian is who provided the guidance that it needs to be 120 feet, not 200 feet.
Yep.
And Mike said, as long as it's portable, I'm good with it, and we'll find a good spot for it, and we'll put it up there. But even though this process isn't done, it has been my intent and my effort to make sure that we are following what we anticipate the process is looking like as much as possible. Plus, it's another one of those good use cases to say,
Yeah.
because it was interesting in the Parks Board discussion, they were like, well, we want to come up and tell you where it was. And I said, okay, so wait a minute, because what you just said, 2 seconds ago, you said you were okay letting them do it, but I'm just hearing you now saying you want to sign off on it and do approval. And then they kind of said, no, but we'd love to go up and have insight and do it. So it was just kind of, at that point, it was kind of a request. We wanted to just go up and point out a couple of things to make sure you notice them as you're making the decision. So there were 2 people from the Parks Board, in addition to the Shelley folks, that were gonna go up with Mike and figure out where to put it, providing that the sense is after this conversation and more accurately after council tomorrow night, because I did think I put it down below the discussion. Yeah, right now it's not for action, and my understanding is it wasn't the intent that it would be up for action. I just want to validate that before I sign it and say, yep, go do it.
Okay, I guess I have no issue with them doing it. The only thing I would just want the Parks Board, which it sounds like they already went to, as well as Mike Maples to sign off on that.
Yep.
And also just making sure, maybe even the city attorney, making sure there's no liability that we need to be aware of.
Okay?
And I think the commitment thing, just them understanding that the use could change or whatever
Yep.
up there, and they may have to make adjustments, you know, with any future
And that's why,
things that develop.
Yeah, I think
And if they're okay with that.
And that's kind of what I was gonna lean into. It'd be nice to have a formal, like, this is what we're agreeing to.
agreement
like-
for putting it in.
Yeah, like some sort of a formal
Gray
request.
area, yeah.
Like, it doesn't have to be huge, just has to be like a letter
Um,
of, this is what we are doing, this is the parameters of what it is. So then that way, we're not saying, yeah, go put in a shed, and they hear put in a shed, and it becomes a pole barn. Or, and again, I know that the conversations have happened, but having something in writing, so 10 years from now, when that shed decides to grow,
to 400 feet,
Well, no, so my
Or something else.
thinking is
a bathroom.
that this goes to Public Works Director, Planning and Public Works Director, who sign off and say, this is what it is in there. So
Yeah.
then, so is documented sufficient, or do you want that documentation to come to council and have you guys sign off on it? Because my understanding is, if Public Works is, legal is okay with it, we're okay with it. If staff is okay with it,
well, if
we're
that's the
okay
case,
with
I
it.
don't think it even has to come to council. Like,
I'm
that's
just-
kind of
I'm
my
just
thought.
double-checking.
So my process is, if I'm gonna approve something, I wanna know what I'm approving.
Okay?
And if that's the case, I want something written, and I want something formal. If it's something that we don't feel needs to come to council and Mike Maples can make the decision, then it can sit there.
Yeah,
That's what I'm validating,
Yep.
because that was my
Okay.
understanding.
Yep. Yep.
Do you feel that a 10 by 12 portable shed
Yeah,
that Mike Maples places
Yep.
and Brian signs off as
Yep.
needs to come through council, or you're still good with that doesn't need to come to us?
I don't think it does.
no, if he's okay.
Not at this
and
point.
staff
That's,
okay.
do you get, that, we ended up where I tried to start out with, that's
Yeah,
just,
I'm just
I'm
making
just
sure.
double checking.
Yeah, no, I just wanted to be sure that, like, tomorrow, we're not approving something on the record that, again, end of the day, we're not actually approving it. Does
No,
that make sense?
yeah,
And I don't want it to be something that they come back to 10 years from now, like, well, you guys said we could do this without any parameters, and now we look like
okay.
the
So what I will
jackass.
do is I will
So,
ask my validation question more
120
concisely
foot.
and better tomorrow night.
Please and thank you.
Okay.
120-foot portable shed.
Yeah. Okay. Still kind of like something.
And right,
Yeah.
just the paper trail to,
I want a paper trail of what is being approved. Or as long as that paper trail exists in that office somewhere, great. Like, as long as there's a paper trail. I don't want it to be again, 10 years from now, well, they have a shed and they never got permission for the shed, or they did get permission for the shed and it wasn't good enough permission, or what.
And there was an
Or
outstanding
sheds were
question
different.
because they were looking at putting signs on it that, like, for sponsors and stuff.
Oh.
And again, that was redirect that to staff. There's already a process, and Brian will tell you what you can and can't do.
Oh, like sponsorship stuff. Okay,
Yeah.
I get that.
Okay.
I get that. Okay.
Okay.
Got it. Discussion. Nice. What?
Next up, reviewing the proposed disc golf MOU discussion. And I see that we have some
Discussion
disc
tonight, or is that tonight?
I'm assuming discussion tonight and tomorrow night.
Yes.
Multiple discussions.
It is not up for action.
Thoroughly discussing. On that note, I'm gonna pull this up. Try and find which page of that is in our agenda, because it is,
And there was.
Yeah, okay, it's not just me, I'm not.
yeah, it's
There
there.
was some comment I already got back from somebody on council,
Oh.
but it's discussion only, so it'll come up, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Page 35.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That's
I
very
was on
helpful.
page 2, so.
There's a lot of pages to go out, so I'll pull this up.
Found it. Page 35 in the electronic.
I don't know, I'm on page 24.
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
Having read through it, there was reference to a putting green in the parking lot. And my immediate thought went to liability for stray discs that may hit cars.
That's,
Since the group is here, they might
yeah,
give better vision to what that is.
so,
The putting green typically is the putting circle is typically around 30 feet inside, and what we were proposing and understanding now that maybe the whole area is going to be paved over, that lots of things have changed since we put that in there.
okay,
We would be putting in the direction of the basket, which would be in the center of that circle. And at what I've seen of any design, there's no cars that park against the center of the circle, so 30 feet at max, and you're just literally practicing putting with the plastic disc. They're not throwing the discs hard enough to damage a vehicle in that environment, because literally it's a circle.
It's like putt.
Yeah.
But fair question.
yeah, no, I think that's a solid
Trying to
question.
visualize.
We're-
But it's
We're-
all contingent upon how the city wants to design that
Yeah.
space.
Perfect,
That's
okay.
what we're hoping for discussion.
Did I hear something about something's all being paved over?
Somebody told us last at Parks Board meeting, and I can tell you to somebody so that I'm not naming names, Beth mentioned to us, in passing, there was a conversation about paving the parking lot, and so that I should be prepared for a conversation around the putting thing. And I went, okay, we'll address it when we see it.
I will just, for accuracy of information, what we are looking at right now is paving the P that is the road and curb and gutter, and changing the slope, and, but
Not the whole.
nobody has mentioned to me anything about paving over the parking lot.
We gotta be really careful about saying the words parking lot and paving at this
Yeah,
point,
no,
so.
I'm just,
I already have.
no, so I just,
It's already in my head.
And we're looking at, actually doing whatever beautification and improvements to that mound there in the center that would make it a usable space. We won't end up using the whole space for the circle, it would be part of it, so restoring some of the monuments, putting some artifacts in there that are representative of the park and the area, the flagpole back as the city wants, whatever we need to do to make that useful. It's a pretty good sized space, and we're just trying to make use of dead space in a nice
Mhm.
way.
So it's under our parking lot. I'm having, like,
I've got a
Yeah, I feel like.
okay, because I'm like, am I
It's in
thinking?
the circle of the P.
circle of the P is the best way to say it.
here's, so you're talking about where all the monuments and stuff are up in this right now. So
Right
here's,
there.
this right here this is the old way, it comes up now and comes across.
Okay.
And then, so this is where they're gonna pave is this, and then this. And you're talking about in the middle of this circle?
The circle is the, yes, that's
Okay,
exactly
okay,
right.
so the,
Because there's I've heard there's already a couple of monuments there.
Yep.
And I've heard that there's an old railroad cart that maybe, or
And that's
mining
part-
cart.
That's part of this conversation.
Okay.
Tom helped facilitate getting that. We'd like to include
throw it into the cart? Is that the putting green?
Well, as
That'd be sweet, actually. I kinda like it.
I'm not gonna lie.
We would like to use historically significant elements in both the putting area and throughout the course to make the park better and look at how, and obviously the coal miner's cart is something that'll go there, so.
Okay. I was imaging, like, the parking lot closer to the school, so I was kind of like,
Where are you talking about?
like, you're gonna put, what, there's a putting green in the middle?
So this-
Yeah, I was envisioning something, yeah.
And this field is now part of all of this.
Yeah,
I'll get flooded
So.
and, yeah. Okay.
right now it's kind of a mess, but there's hope.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, I'm
Center of
gonna,
the P makes perfect sense, that was a good, wait, for that one. I was like,
and I know that if the putting green is there in the center of the P, I know that the sanctuary used to use a large amount of that for parking back in the day, like right up next to it. So I guess, I wish I had a map. I wish we just had a living, breathing map of Coal Miners Park and the different MOUs and where they overlap.
Well, we are gonna be updating this, and we can pull it up online and project it on here if that'll help the conversation, but.
Yeah, I just feel, where is
How's that?
Exhibit
How's
A?
this?
There should
Here.
be a
Does this
copy
help?
of this in that document.
I'm looking for Exhibit A, and I think that's what that is supposed to be.
Mine came out blank.
So I was-
Yeah, I have a
Exhibit
blank, and that's where I am confused and also
Do you have a
sad.
copy of yours now, and I'll go make multiple copies for?
It's
I just pulled up
the
Google.
printed in a horizontal.
Well, I just want to see where their
Okay,
map is,
I'll
like
go
what
make
they're
some
planning
copies
on.
Right.
of
Not
this.
just that
But
map.
I'm looking at the P.
Yeah, oh yeah, no, for
Oh,
sure.
I
So
see.
again, like right there, you can see where they
Yeah.
use that for parking. But I want to see what is essentially
had-
getting agreed to.
Like, beginning of the conversation, I was like, where the heck are they gonna put these?
God, I remember that year when all of that was there. Oh, God.
There are times like during baseball and that parking lot just overflowing. Yeah.
Which I imagine most people aren't going to be like, oh, let's throw discs around when there's a bunch of cars right there. Like, that doesn't seem fun
Track
to me.
meet / baseball tournament, like,
I'm exposed to liabilities every day. And so I go, there's a liability right there.
let's see how many things we
Somebody
can
gets
throw
a
up at
little
once.
Ambitious and.
How many sports can be represented at one time?
Honestly,
Right.
Coal Miners Park's great for that. It's
We're
perfect
gonna
for
have
that.
a track meet, and we're gonna have a soccer tournament with a baseball tournament,
Okay.
and,
So on a whole, I'm just gonna kind of read through what Red Lodge, disc golf is agreeing to, and then what we're agreeing to, because I feel like that's good to verbalize, and just kind of go through it, because I'm not sure how many folks have gone through all this. So design and implement additional golf holes at Coal Miners Park, creating a standard 18-hole course, which is awesome.
We're on.
The map of the locations are coming right now.
Upside down, so photocopy the back of the page.
oh,
Perfect. That's,
oh, lovely.
that's what I'm
you.
wanting, yep, okay.
Oh, and it's color coordinated.
It's color coordinated, love it.
Do you want some quick explanation on the color coordination?
Yes, please.
Uh,
Do you want to just do a quick little, like, this is what we're,
Explain.
yeah, do you want to do a quick little presentation on your MOU of what,
Sure, we can.
what the intent and,
We'll be really efficient and explain what's in the what's what while we do it. So,
Okay.
can I just do it from here?
yeah, totally,
no.
yeah,
It'll
this is not,
record better if you come up by the green thing here to record.
okay.
That way people online can hear and.
Sorry.
It's okay.
I know, we just need a runner with a microphone.
It's fine. I can manage it. So we are looking to expand the, disc golf course to 18 holes. And improve the quality of the course in general, including new standardized baskets, some of which have already been installed.
Okay.
Additional features that make the play more interesting and more challenging. And then, just basically upgrading tee pads and those kinds of things so that we're able to have a better course across the board for all of the user groups. So what you're looking at with the map, the yellow dashes are existing holes that are already there. So everything in yellow already exists.
Okay.
What we are doing as we move through this is adding a hole, in some cases, a hole position A, and then a hole position B. The purpose for that is to prevent erosion and to make the holes slightly more challenging. And as we move them back and forth, that allows us to control making the course a little longer, but also eliminating some erosion in a place where we've played hole A a lot.
Yeah.
Where hole B is we've worked with Willie, it's flat, that he can mow over it. Some of them are already installed.
Okay. Yeah.
There will not be two places at every hole. You can see the ones have A and B where they are. And then the other things, so the blue is the B position, and on those holes that already exist. Then the green holes are the places where, particularly for you guys, we are adding a land use, that doesn't already exist. So down in that corner, closest to the backside of Rock Creek, we're looking at adding a hole in there and cleaning up that forest just a little bit with the dead timber and things that are in there. There's another hole coming up and around the Northwest Energy piece, and then changing a hole, just basically better utilizing the open space on the back driveway towards the service entrance to Yellowstone, to the sanctuary. And we currently throw across there, but we're just not utilizing the space to its fullest. And so we're just changing those holes. But as you can see, really, we've not changed, we're just adding, there's 5 new holes, basically, over what already existed. So, and all of our proposal has to do with basically implementing it, caring for it, taking care of it, providing the volunteers and the funds, some funding from the city to support the baskets, which has already been done. But we have sponsors for the rest of it.
Awesome.
Did I miss something?
How will hole 10 change with the tennis courts?
Good question. So one of the things that we did in the process, was have a meeting with all of the user groups down at at Coal Miners Park, and we had a conversation with them, and they have put in their implementation and engineering that they will actually help us replace hole 10. Based on what I understand, we'll probably end up just running hole 10 this direction.
Side, yep, from the side, like
And
517.
Right, we're not going, it'll still end up in a very similar place. It'll just be kind of perpendicular to where 17 is.
Okay.
Parallel to. We control, to your question about cars, we control how and where people throw by using tools like mandatories that say this is where the disc has to fly in order to get a certain score, and out of bounds, just like regular golf. If it goes out of bounds, you lose a point, and people are cognizant about that. So we're doing everything we
So
can.
not like regular golfers then?
Oh, yeah,
I was gonna say, I'm
There's not a penalty stroke in this, but there is a penalty stroke in this if you go out of bounds. So we use out of bounds to control keeping them, don't throw it wildly, because it's gonna be OB if you go in the softball field or onto the pathway or someplace we don't want them to be. So they strive not to do that. And,
I had no idea all
that
existed.
Oh, yeah.
So there's a lot
I mean, I knew
going
over
on
here,
down
but I
there,
didn't know
and
down
we
here.
coexist with most everybody fairly well. And the soccer shed, we've talked to them, we're content, they're content about location.
Cool.
Does that answer your question?
Do we have
Yes,
a-
that's
do we have
perfect. Thank you.
a general idea where?
It was mostly I wanted to see the map. That was the big one. We're
I
like,
didn't realize how
don't
much
see a
real
map in
estate
here.
it takes up to, like,
Well, and that's the beauty of it, is it doesn't actually take that much real estate, just airspace.
yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, well, yeah, exactly.
Okay, great.
I have questions.
Yeah.
And Tom, you will know this probably better than anybody off the top of your head, but are 12 and 13, that's not city property? Isn't that private property?
That's what I was
Isn't that like
looking
the
up.
parks?
Google map.
No, they are, it
I
is,
believe that's in the park boundary.
Find our
Sorry,
map.
here, also.
That's, that Northwestern Energy, that isolated piece, that's actually an island within the park.
Okay, yeah, so there's an island there.
What is this building?
Okay, so
That's what we're talking
you're
about
saying
now,
that,
that's where
I
that's-
guess
they have like a
it's
junction
you're
box
saying
there.
13
Okay,
avoids
okay.
that
yeah.
somewhat?
Well, to some degree. So one of the requests we probably will make is that Northwestern Energy is actually staging a lot of supplies there that are actually outside their boundary.
Mhm.
And we might ask that they move it within their boundary so that we can have that space back.
So, yeah, and the city can, we can certainly have them, I'm doing my best to kind of match this out according to cadastral. And we can certainly ask them to limit themselves to their property, but my guess is the counter is gonna be, well, then make sure folks are staying off of ours. And to me, it looks like part of 13 goes across the corner of their property as it's drawn here. I just,
Yeah.
I drew my best scribble.
Yeah,
Public
I-
use,
we
but it's
can
not
check
necessarily
the
park,
boundaries.
that's the difference.
There's a few ones.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I can do a share even.
So that whole strip right there is
Mhm.
actually not park, but it is public use. So it's city-owned land, it's just not designated park space. Which,
If I click on it,
I'm looking at our zoning map.
but I'm looking at cadastral and who owns it, and they own it. There's a block in the middle of that they own.
Yes, there is a block.
And it's where the 13 kind of goes across that
Right.
corner of it.
Yep. From there. That's sweet though. But yeah, so that is,
That's what it looks like.
yeah, basically from right here
yeah,
to
okay.
there,
Okay, so I pulled this.
right now. Right now,
We
yeah.
haven't brought them into the discussion yet, but I think that would be a wise next step to just meet with Northwestern.
Okay, so this is what we have in there.
Yeah, 'cause it looks like,
Talk about property boundaries. And potentially-
it looks like,
Because I don't know how far their boundary is. This is all fenced in.
yeah, it's hard to see this on here.
So it's up on the screen.
Oh, thank you.
In the tent, so.
Perfect.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so it would, it's just,
I'm not saying my drawing was the scale that I handed you, Tom, but I kind of did it based on the trees, and my guess is it's, and by the way, we all know that cadastral lies, so, but it's a good starting spot.
I think.
And is it down here where you're saying they're utilizing stuff?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
I will wait to reach out to them from a city standpoint, because what I don't want to do is sour your conversations. But,
It's a team conversation.
yeah.
Mhm.
yep.
Mhm,
Like,
mhm.
hey, what, we thought of this, we noticed that.
Can I put my copy back now?
Nope, I charge extra for that.
No.
was my code.
All right, so cool, got that kind of cleared up. So kind of going back into this, sorry, I have about 3 documents pulled up now. So maintain putting green in the middle of the parking lot.
The P.
Okay, so then the city approval add additional design features to make the course safer and more challenging, which sounds great. Features like additional trees, artwork, and features within the Coal Miners Park.
Coal car.
I like that idea. To accomplish this task and add to the aesthetic of the properties, facilitate moving basket positions. Sounds good to me on that.
Mm-hmm.
Act as a UDisc ambassador.
Oh.
UDisc is the sort of source for information around courses. It's how people find courses.
Cool.
And we currently are the UDisc ambassadors, but you need somebody to maintain the data, and then it also gives you good data about how many people are using the park.
Ooh.
Like, we can show you statistically how many people have played already in January, and I can tell you there are several of them.
Oh, I bet. That would be
Myself included.
good. Yeah.
But that's what UDisc is it's a mapping program and a use capture for.
Interesting. Okay.
Okay. I want to italicize that just so, but that's just a personal thing. Okay, awesome.
Put it in bold.
In coordination with the city and other user groups, update and install new signs. In terms of that, I'm assuming the city, and Dave, I'm gonna defer to you on this for the question, that Brian or Mike Maples would help direct in terms of signage, size, materials, et cetera.
That'll be planning, yeah.
Okay.
Watch for
Fabulous.
Please make it look like a UFO.
So
And
just kind of
having
finding-
said that, it's applying what's already written in the zoning documents, so
Okay.
it's not, they're not making decisions, it's their job to apply what has been
Okay,
created by
so if we wanted
council and or
to,
planning board.
if we wanted to hone in on that a little bit tighter, because I think, if I remember our zoning regulations correctly, we have, I think it's basically the size of a real estate sign, like one of those yard signs. It's like-
There's a lot of difference, but it currently does not take into account the size of the building. So in other words, I can put the same amount of square footage if I own the Smoky Cocapelli or whatever it was
Mhm.
versus Ace Hardware. I'm allowed the same sort of frontage, and there's no like proportionality built into that.
Yeah, I'm just,
And then the freestanding signs, there's, the one that I remember that has kind of jumped out is like if it's sponsorship, there's temporaries and things like against names and stuff like that, so.
okay.
But their job is to apply what is, they're not making the rules, they're just applying the rules that council and planning board have put forth.
Okay, thank you. That helps me. Yeah, that'd be one of my only concerns is the type of signage and where it's going. Size, that kind of thing. I don't know if that's something we want to provide additional parameters for, or if we would prefer to just take a look at our zoning code and see if that's sufficient.
Right.
Okay, just something worth noting. Assist the city and user groups, with appropriate maintenance, replacement, and repair, including mowing, fertilizing, or spraying noxious weeds. Financial assistance of facility upgrades, amenities, that is, I want to say, that are damaged by disc golf-related activities, that instead of that is damaged. Just a little typo, or not typo, but minor edit. Notify the city and/or Parks Board of any conflicts, major repairs, or other needs that the city should be aware of, that's great. For disc golf events that are hosted, by the PDGA, that's fun to say, liability insurance in accordance with the City of Red Lodge policy will be provided. As a whole, Red Lodge Disc Golf will strive to minimize erosion. City shall provide the space, approved by the Parks Board for storage and construction materials and extra supplies for maintenance and ongoing supplies for league play. How much space do we feel like, that can't be much? I mean,
It's not much. We worked with the storage shed that the softball folks use, and baseball folks use. That has come into conversation that there's probably some room in there.
Yeah,
When we all got together and talked about it, there's a need to maybe clean up and reorganize that space and make it functional.
cool.
Once we get everything implemented,
Mm-hmm.
there's less space. Right now, it's like, oh, we're needing 3 bags of concrete stored someplace, so that, because we're building holes and putting concrete in the ground, but that will go away as we
Yeah.
get some of that stuff done.
Mm-hmm.
Yep,
25 square feet.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say, if even, like, but
Yeah,
I'm not
shared
sure.
space.
Cool. Let's see, provide a policy of comprehensive liability insurance that covers Coal Miners Park, its users, Red Lodge Disc Golf volunteers, and the areas that public uses for the disc golf activities.
And that's normal, that's, our city policy covers our parks.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay, and then provide funding for continued maintenance and improvements for, the disc golf course annual basis and through regular requests submitted through and approved by Parks Board, which, again, that's all normal. Provide equipment and supplies for treatment of noxious weeds and nuisance. Okay. So on a whole, pretty standard, MOU, feel pretty good about it. The only thing that I would like to just get a little bit of clarification on would be that signage size, and making sure that, one, they can have adequate signage, because just knowing the folks that are involved, like, I have full faith that they would be useful and well thought out, and, but more so just providing those parameters, because even though I know these folks today, I don't necessarily know everybody 20 years from now. Let's see, and then with this MOU, I assume it is like our others. I don't see an expiration
5
or
There is
5
a
years.
5-year.
General provision. The term of this MOU is for 5 years, commencing on the date of approval by both parties.
Literally the 2 sentences I did not read out loud. Got it.
Cool. Just a little further.
And to be honest with you, I did not continue transcribing the other MOUs that I was given and all of the legalese at the end of them.
Mm-hmm.
I wrote and read what I felt was most relevant and that I understood and put it in the document. So if there is stuff missing that the city needs, I'm open to that, but I also wasn't gonna get carried away putting stuff in that didn't make a lot of sense.
That's totally fair, especially when you have to manually transcribe to
My
copy and paste.
understanding is
Yeah.
that you worked with Parks on this though, right?
Yes.
You worked with Parks to do this, and so they are aware of that shortening.
I took samples of other ones, and I was clear when I sent this back that this is,
Working.
they've seen it all.
Oh,
Cool. Has our city attorney seen it?
He has not yet, but he will before we take action, as
Perfect.
well as Brian.
Okay.
Perfect, yep, that was gonna be my only other request.
On your comment on number 7 on signs,
Mm-hmm.
can you just say update and install new signs within regulations or guidelines or something? When you're saying you're asking more questions, to me, it's just that you will install signs that are compliant with city regs.
Well, that's the thing, is I'm not sure if, I wanna make sure that those city regs are either one, not too constraining, because I know for instance, in some situations, because as you mentioned, whether you have the Smelly Copelli or Ace Hardware, you have the same regulations, and I know by going through, like, you're only allowed a certain amount of signage, and if you have an 18-hole course, they might need additional signage beyond those regulations.
I think that's different.
And that's
Especially with,
the
like, a
thing,
map
my
of
question
one
is, I wanna
location.
know.
Okay.
I wanna read it and make sure that what we're approving is okay for them, or okay for the city.
And my 2 cents is, the rules is the rules, and so if you think the rules are constraining or problematic, then
Right.
go change the rules.
Or it might be that I want them to be more constraining for this situation, because I don't necessarily want a 6-foot by 6-foot sign at the top, depending on where it's going. So again, if it's something that's gonna be blocking view shed or something along those lines, I think it's, before approving, it's worth knowing.
Okay, but my 2 cents is the only thing you're gonna get to allow to be put on here is that you get to put in signs according to the regulations. You don't get to say except for, or you get to do this
No
instead
conditional
of
use in terms.
the same today, tomorrow, and 6 months from now. That's one of our core driving principles.
And who looks at the verbiage, the signs, the city council or city staff?
The planning board
Yeah.
puts that together and city council approves that. Planning board is reviewing
So,
the zoning documentation right now. And then that'll ultimately be approved by council.
Okay, because it should be similar across the board, or same across the board, just like the new tennis courts and pickleball. We were talking about signage today or two, and
Yep.
your area.
It is, and that's worth mentioning, because there were some signs that went up there that were not coordinated through the city and were a little bit problematic that we're still working through.
Yeah.
this
So
is exactly.
It
or
should be
yeah.
consistent,
Mhm.
yeah.
So if
So
I
we should
change
look
this
at the-
language to say, install new signs according to city regulations,
Like the
including the description of what needs to go in there, because we should have like, each hole will have a small sign
Right.
to
Yeah.
show where to throw,
Yeah.
like you
Yep.
would expect. And there is already a master sign that will just be updated
Mhm.
for the disc golf course that shows the area.
Mhm.
And all
Yeah.
user groups will be represented in that sign, because it's very difficult for us to build a sign showing the layout of the course that does not show everybody else.
Right.
Yeah.
It will be one big map of the park.
My 2 cents is the way, the start of that question, what we're gonna do is change this wording so it's in line with regulations, is the correct answer.
Yeah.
And we may need to revisit those regulations and make sure they're appropriate. Well, we will be revisiting them, but
Yeah.
keep this in mind as you're revisiting them.
Yep.
I'll make that edit,
Thank
in
you.
my working copy.
Yeah, I just wanna make sure that you guys are covered, and also that
Yep.
if we need to be reviewing this within zoning, it does come up. And, yeah, I get a red flag, or not a red flag, but just a flag from the facts. Again, I've heard several comments in the last few years, not about or disc golf at all in terms of their signage, but other, like, for instance, Beartooth Trail wanted to put a sign up down by the river on a trail that they did, a bunch of maintenance on and a bunch of work on, which is fantastic, and it's a donated sign that had apparently been approved years prior, and we just didn't have the paper trail for it, and it's like, okay, I wanna make sure that this paper trail exists somehow for you. So that way, again, 10 years from now, no one's crawling down your throat about, like, you can't have that there, there's too many. You got 18, you can only have 12, like, that kind of thing. So just wanna make sure that language is clear, so.
Well, while you're doing that, I had noted on number 2, just to rework that verbiage, because center of the parking lot was obviously confusing, so whether that's maybe, within the island that's located at the north end of the parking lot, or some sort of verbiage.
You could even just refer to Exhibit A.
Well, but center of the parking lot is still, or you could add it to exhibit, yeah.
Yeah,
Add to exhibit.
I think that makes more sense. When you have a photo, use the photo.
And then number 3, update, maintain infrastructure, including key box with alternate basket positions. Is that the same thing as number 5 that was erosion control, or how is 3 different from 5?
3 is about putting them in and maintaining it, or putting them in and adding the infrastructure, and 5 is me saying that Red Lodge Disc Golf will actually do the physical
Yeah.
job of moving the baskets.
Yeah.
Not
Okay.
like, we have to go
Okay.
out there,
Okay, gotcha.
unlock, lock, shift them around, and then make that change in UDisc to say, this is where the basket actually sits today,
Okay.
and then back. And so, just clarifying who's responsible for actually doing that.
I want to say that the concern that somebody called and voiced to me had to do with that number, had to do with, and this is, because I'm going, but it may have been that there was just more clarity about, with alternate basket positions, and so maybe again, it's something that refers to the exhibit or something for
Mhm.
clarity.
Okay.
That, my best guess that my old decrepit brain is coming up with, that's the only one I can think of that they may have been asking, is like, that's too vague, or that's too something.
Yeah, I would just say on number 3, just at the end, as presented in Exhibit A. And that's all you gotta have to say there. That'd be easy. Thank you for the exhibit, by the way.
Yes.
And all the work on this, appreciate that. I know it's not easy right now, these documents, especially because everything is a non-copy paste PDF.
Also, is it really called the shaft?
That's awesome.
On number 9, is that notify the city of any organized activities? Like if you guys are doing
Tournaments
a
or?
tournament, is that what it's trying to say on number 9?
Yeah.
And
It might be like organized activities, but also we'll at least let you know when we're planning to have reoccurring things like league play and just at least post it on it. We suggested to the parks board that the parks have a shared common calendar so
Yeah.
that all users can see what's happening when. So, and I would still promote driving that forward in whatever way is supported, but.
Mhm.
And at the city, we have one, but the question is how do we make that publicly available? Because that would be hugely helpful.
Yeah.
For everyone, yeah.
So anyway, that was just the other thing from your comments that I kind of wrote down was organized in there somewhere, because it's kind of like, when we know something's coming, we'll let you know.
awesome. Well, thank you very much. I guess the only notes, there's a couple of edits, and you guys will do those.
Mhm.
Thank you so much, I appreciate that. And then I will go into our zoning and
If you get a chance to get that done before tomorrow, we'll hand it out to everybody so that they have that latest copy in front of them at the meeting.
And you would like us to come to the meeting tomorrow night at 5:30, just in case there's questions?
just in case. I don't imagine that we'll have questions, because we got that out of our system, but others
It's okay.
My 2 cents is if you can do, like I said, there's basically 2 evening meetings that when we're talking about it and then when we're doing it, if your schedule allows, I would say it would behoove you to show up to both of those.
Or even if you just want to be online, just
Yeah.
available.
Yeah,
Available
that's
online,
fine,
so
too.
for questions.
No reason to make the trip and put on shoes and
Pants.
I'm not even gonna
To put on
touch
pants?
that one.
It's always good to learn, so I will get a revised copy
I said
to
shoes.
I know.
If you
I was
send it to
thinking
me,
pants.
I'll print it.
I know what you were thinking.
by tomorrow evening, and we'll see you guys tomorrow evening.
Okay.
Any other questions on this?
No, I don't think.
I can't think of any right now, no. I
I think-
mean, I
Patty, do you have
appreciate
any
all of this.
questions?
No, I don't think so. So you said additional 5 holes, right? Just if there's, I don't know if it needs to be in the MOU, just something outlining what, modifications you're gonna do, like use concrete, build, or you dig and add new holes, what that entails at all, or just protect it?
I don't want to get carried away being
Detail.
exactly detailed, because
Okay.
A, it's not completely decided on, and B,
Okay.
each hole is a little different.
Yeah.
Okay,
So,
I was trying to envision what work's gonna be done, here to make this happen.
some of them, very little has already been done.
Mhm.
Okay.
And others, it's laying down pavers in a 5x8 square,
Okay,
and then, digging, putting, like I said, another sprinkler box type hole in the ground, and the basket gets moved
Okay.
from one to the other. The biggest work in those new holes is actually clearing down a lot of dead and down trees,
Yeah.
and then actually just making a more usable space.
I would probably add that in there if you can, to say clearing dead and down, so that people don't scream about cutting down live trees. And then is there anything in there that the aliens come down and tell us we're doing something else at that party? There's nothing that's really unreversible, right? You're not, it's all pretty small scale stuff.
Well, each one of
Pavers
the
you can pick
pavers
up
are
and move someplace
dedicated
else.
by a family member. So like, if you were to get rid of those. Sorry, no, I was being a
Oh,
smart
I was like, wait, seriously? I was like, wait,
Well, it's that
what?
way at the sanctuary.
And that's exactly it, is like, there is the possibility that it'd be harder to.
But I wasn't anticipating we're putting in a 10-by-10 concrete pad. So
No.
it's like, anything that something could be removed or moved
Yeah.
with a wheelbarrow and shovel on a weekend.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just don't know, I used to live right by there and go there all the time, but I don't wanna presume that I know what
If
the
you're
plans are enough
curious what
detail.
things look like, and I'm not, like, this isn't you guys' sole responsibility, but if you're curious what we're planning to do, we have shared with the mayor a story map several times, which is just a kind of a website that shows pictures of what's been done
Okay.
and samples. But if you wanna see eyes on it, if you drive to the corner at Coal Miners Park, or like you're headed to the high school,
Mhm.
where hole 10 is now, the upgrades have been done there.
Okay,
So you
thank you.
can see what the T-pads look like, you can see what the basket looks like, and what work has been done, and that is basically what they will all look like.
Well,
That's the goal, but it's gonna take time to get there, and the old feedback from the old baskets was, they're just a gravel, the former T-pads were just gravel and road base.
Yeah.
So the gravel sloughs out all over the ground.
Yep.
They're not very stable. It is they're not comfortable to play on, so we're literally just trying to make the surface a better surface to play from and more sustainable.
Yeah.
And it can
Is
be
it
mowed
changed?
around
Oh, yeah.
easily instead of throwing rocks.
Exactly.
Gravel.
We'll weed whack around it and help maintain it, because it's much easier to maintain than the old, with the gravel all over, they're painful.
So that's what the pavers would be,
Yeah.
because I was thinking, even if you just put a boundary with like 2x4s around and leave it natural in the middle, that's better than the slippery road base.
It is, except for it makes a tripping hazard at the end, because you've got that raised up piece to go off of, and it's also this allows us to play for a lot longer into the year. But we're trying to get to a place where we have a standard surface.
Our goal is a 5-by-10 hard surface that we can pro from. That is the key box. We're still debating whether that's gonna be pavers surrounded by wood, or potentially a prefab concrete slab that's set there, but we want some sort of hard surface.
Sure, gotcha.
Yeah. Okay.
But I
Have you
know
guys talked to
still
Brian at all on that from a building inspector standpoint?
have not, no.
But when we run this past him, I'll be curious, and I think before we do, let's just coordinate with him. I don't know that IBC gets into that at all, but
Imagine.
I'd be very surprised if they do, so.
Yeah. I mean, we're looking for economical
Yeah.
alternatives, so
Gotcha.
that looks good too. The pavers were the most aesthetically pleasing solution we came up with so far, but they're costly and they're difficult to install.
We'll get donated ones, and each person does a dedicated family member on each one. For that one.
Your next move is mud wrestling, just so you know.
No, I'm coming off of a long break. There's no energy for mud wrestling tonight. Okay, so I think that's all my questions. So we'll present this tomorrow for discussion, and then if there's any additional questions, we'll make sure that we can get those answered. And then I don't have an issue with this being or above the fold
Next.
on the next meeting unless something comes up tomorrow.
I have one follow-up question, given that the rest of our agenda, what feedback could you guys give us, other than I know this has been frustrating because we don't have this defined and know what this is? What feedback can you guys give us as we're
Templates.
doing this? Have you felt, I mean, my biggest thing is, has it been fair, consistent, the same?
I mean, it's become fair,
Mhm.
but long after we started the process.
Right.
And that is okay to be part of the process as change happens.
Mm-hmm.
I am a visual person, and I think that the less words you can put into this process that are clear, the better off you are. I suggested a flow chart when this started, and I still think, do you have an existing MOU? Yes or no? I'm gonna circle back to your shed conversation. The soccer folks have an MOU with you, and an amendment to their MOU or a resolution in their MOU is the right place to put who is taking care of the shed, et cetera. But because we're not doing that, that process isn't clear, it's hard to know where to go.
Yep, right.
So are you making an amendment to an existing MOU? Yes or no? And then
creating a
just
new-
down the path you go. And having that published ahead of time, and who are your points of contact?
Yep.
Even tonight, I was not clear when I left the Parks Board meeting the other night. Should I plan on, I had written down the council meeting because I didn't know any better, then realized it would be nice to have somebody guide you a little bit, like, hey, my park ambassador could walk me through what my steps are and be a coach for me in that.
Yeah.
Those are just some of my thoughts about how to
like
support
that.
the process. And this is a Word document. I have no pride, in sharing, like, I'm not too proud to share it, give it. All of those PDF documents that you currently have can be extracted out to.
Life goals.
But to start out with, if you want a baseline, I'm happy to share this as a Word template and let somebody else move forward with it, because there's no reason to have somebody else reinvent the wheel.
Yeah, no, I'm right there with you on that one. I was just writing down templates for all of the above, where it's like.
And I think you have a responsibility, and we do too, to have an active list of all of the MOUs. I should be able to go online and see them.
Current.
You should be able to know when, the city should know when they're coming due. I should probably get a reminder, hey, you're up in a year. Now's a good time to, so those would be process things that I would think about.
I will say, just kind of as a feedback of that, all MOUs are available in a folder. I have implemented a new change that went, because we have a resolution that we've approved, but the MOU isn't there. So I've requested that going forward that the MOU is scanned in part, so when you do a search, you don't just find the resolution, you actually find the MOU or whatever it was that was assigned. So that'll be part of the online documentation.
And again, I think when we do scan things in, at that time, make it a searchable PDF.
Yep.
Like, let's start that process as we're going forward, because it is a huge
Gotta go back.
That's what we've done, and make it part of our record, so.
Yep.
It'll still be the part of the, right, you still have to go through and search it, and like you do resolutions and ordinances, but that will be part of it, because that was the conclusion I had too, was like, not a copy, all right.
All right,
The
well,
only other thing I would suggest is you're gonna have to address the scalability of these projects, you know, whether it's a multi-million-dollar facility coming in versus a
$50.
small alteration,
Yeah.
and, you know, allow the Parks Board to have some authority to make some decisions on the smaller projects, and not have to go scale up and do all the way for city council.
Right.
Defining where those thresholds are.
And I think it'll be staff, aka Public Works, rather than the Parks Board.
Yeah.
But that, I don't know if you've seen the flow chart that is kind of put together. If not, stick around,
So good.
you get to see some of it, because that is kind of what it is. And going back to the shed, based on what I'd seen there, that wasn't something that was gonna come to council, but given it's not finalized yet, am I okay working on your draft as we move forward, so.
And I would stick, except for we have fire training at 6, and so I'm going.
Thank you.
yeah, no,
thank
we're
you
about
for
done
that.
here too, so you're good.
Thank you for doing that, service
Appreciate
for
it.
our community as well.
Okay, with that, we do have 5 minutes left. So I am going to, I took some notes for processing the designated changing use. We'll get into that again someday. Not today, though. Okay, public comment. Come on up.
Come on down. All right.
Price is right.
Well, Jeff Wise, 516 North Hauser. As you probably know, I've been fighting a lot about the ice rink. Surprise, surprise. Anyway, as time has gone on with the discussion, after I became aware of the situation for the forum, started looking at sites that I thought about and then that others had suggested as possible alternatives for the concrete slab, and plopped them down on Google Earth. So I'm just here to give you guys each a set of copies of what we have now. I realize there's something that was said recently about possibly the site over there where the Eagle's Nest is at. That's not here. So, you know, it just kind of depends on what happens with that, if I even go forward with making it another rendering. So this is just for each one of you, and
Thank you. I love
you can share with
Pictures are great.
the other
I
council
love
members
pictures.
later on.
Fabulous.
Have you given a copy to Lonnie so it can be in the packet for everybody
I
as well?
can do that, yeah.
Okay.
Okay, what am I looking at?
That's
Okay,
that.
Original,
And these are the other spots.
the possibility, what?
These are the other possible sites.
This is Civic Center.
Yep. And then here.
And part of that has to do with, you know,
This is the airport.
does this look even reasonably like it could be built upon? And what sort of infrastructure stuff is there, utilities, water, and electricity? Not a lot of research was done into it, other than me just going over there and kind of looking at the sites, walking around, pacing it off, and then making the image.
Gotcha.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much.
Appreciate it.
Okay, Hope Smith, 517
Oh,
North
hi.
Hauser.
Where did you come from?
Some of these questions I might have are moot. So am I to understand that you have asked the ice skating rink for a presentation that could happen within a couple of weeks?
It's not that we have asked, they have come and, through conversations with them, I believe they're going to come and make a request. So they have to come and make a request before we really do anything.
A request to make a presentation?
Yeah, they'll request to get on the agenda, and I anticipate that will be in 2 weeks.
Okay, and same thing for sledding and cross-country?
Every, yes, every one of those will, they're not
You're
necessarily all coming-
anticipating it, but you don't
No,
know yet?
I don't have
Okay.
feedback from them that it's coming, that they're ready to come do it. The ice rink, I think there's a vested interest in getting that one out sooner rather than later, just because I think there's a whole bunch of conversation and bad juju based on bad information, so I think the sooner they come and make their presentation, the better. But my understanding is they are ready to make a presentation, and that presentation incorporates an awful lot of the feedback that they got at the forum and sense.
To this committee and the city council, or just this committee?
It's the city council is where it'll be, so it's
Okay.
there. I don't know whether they'll come do a dry run for you guys or not. I think probably the first time it'll be just city council, because they're gonna do that.
Everybody.
Yeah, and then it'll end up coming back, so it's not gonna go from city council to action the next
Well,
time.
we're
That's gonna be them formally introducing, and then it'll come to land use and planning.
Yep.
It
And
won't be
parks
voted
again.
on in 2 weeks, we'll put it that way.
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
not
or four, for that matter.
No.
So
No.
Kelsey mentioned, that if you had the information that she would like to see in a presentation. Is that available to the public so we can see what you want to know?
Mhm.
So, our last meeting, I believe that was our last meeting, or was it the meeting before?
I think it was in
I think it's the last meeting. So December 8th, we had, and just, that was basically our whole meeting here, was going around the room, figuring out what items we would like to see, and not so much what information we wanted to see exactly, specifically, it was more so the format and what voices wanted to be presented, and who we wanted to hear from, and what kind of information and the formatting of the meeting. Yeah.
So that brings me to a question I have. Are there minutes of these meetings?
Yes.
Yes, that's the
Where
thing.
do you access those? I cannot,
So the recordings are all online
I've
as
seen
well.
that, yeah. But
My
what-
understanding of, and we're going to change this, and FYI, so you know, this is all gonna come up tomorrow.
Cool.
There are
Patty.
minutes, and I think we need to be posting them right now. You would need to call and ask for them. Or you've got minutes right now that you just approved from the meeting.
Mhm.
Just, we can get you for
Yeah.
now,
Well,
make
and
a copy, so.
Yeah, this is literally this was it, right?
We got it literally last night, the meeting
Yeah.
minutes from last time. It's, and again, it's,
Sorry, I don't mean to keep.
so just so you know how the minutes work, we have one of our members taking meeting minutes
Right.
during the meeting, and then they have to have that provided
Provided.
before our next meeting, so we can review and
course.
approve. And then we won't post them until they're approved, so.
And I know that there is a conversation, just so you know,
Mhm.
because we've got rules and procedures on there.
Mhm.
There was a question about doing away with the requirement of having minutes, since the meetings are recorded and people can go there. And the argument for that was, that the person who's taking the minutes seems to be not as involved
Mhm.
in the meeting, and that interferes with that process.
Yep.
My pushback for, and again, I'm not the one voting for it,
Mhm.
although that might be one of those places where I throw in my veto and make you vote twice to make it so, is we are a service organization, and so I'm very cognizant of how much effort does it take for the public to get hold of those minutes if they want to.
Mhm.
We did not plan this. I did not call her to say, will you make that request?
Interesting.
But it tells me that my pushback was valid and correct.
Can I just, are we discussing this tomorrow?
Yes.
Okay, so I won't get too deep into this. I love the idea of making it to where one of us doesn't have to take minutes, but I do not want to see minutes go away.
Correct.
That's my thought.
There's no way to, we don't have transcribing, recording.
That's
There-
more what I was gonna lean towards. But we're not gonna, just 'cause we are past time, I
Yeah.
wanna have her finish what she has to say, and we can still have more public comment, but in terms of the meeting minutes
Yeah.
conversation, I would like to address that tomorrow when it's on an agenda.
Okay.
And I'm open with that, if you want to do an AI transcription of the meetings. that
I
were
think
out there,
that's great.
That's a fine option too, but, and then the other thing that I would say is that you have to, if you have more, like tonight, we have 4 council members here, so tonight you must have legally
Yep.
compliant minutes
Mhm.
by virtue of the fact that there's more than 3 people here.
Yep.
Correct.
Even though we're not taking action. So that would be, I might acquiesce and say that the formal legally sufficient minutes is the term,
Sure.
exists whenever there's more than 3 council members present in a meeting.
Yeah.
Okay, so nothing's wrong with me that that I couldn't find minutes for any
No.
city council or any committee meeting.
No, minutes for city council are always on there.
Yeah.
If you're
They're
not finding
regularly
those, that's you.
posted.
But if you're not finding
All right,
because
then
it's any committee,
after
that's not you.
this meeting, I want to show, you to show me where then.
I'd be happy to do that.
Okay, great.
Perfect.
And committee meetings going forward will be available without asking?
Yeah, they are available to go watch the recordings,
Well, right.
and the minutes are,
Available.
I don't
by
know that
request.
we're not posting them independently, which I think we ought to be doing.
I thought we had been.
I thought we had been.
Yeah.
My understanding is staff has them, but if you go in to look for them, the agenda's there, but the minutes are not.
Huh.
Okay.
Why are they doing such a?
That's good enough for tonight.
Sorry, dear. All right.
When's the next grant meeting?
Pardon?
When's the next grant meeting?
Nope, you're
The
good.
pilot grant?
The grant meeting, a Wednesday, this or next.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks. They outlined.
Oh, you need an
Foundation
updated
provided us the information
picture.
to
Those girls
their
will
steps,
graduate.
right, when they hold their meetings
Yeah,
and when
they-
they have to put out.
They're noticing them, I think, the same places the city does.
Okay.
I should find out and see if I can,
Can this be a conversation for after this meeting?
yes.
Yeah,
Thank you.
okay.
Thanks.
Sorry,
Okay,
Madam
hi,
Chairman.
Barb Beck for the tennis court project, just a 2-minute update unless you
Okay.
have some questions. And, so we're continuing to move ahead under the authority from the MOU that the council, you guys sent on to the
Mhm.
council and they signed. And so 2 big pieces of that is moving ahead to get more information about site design, and engineering. So,
Okay.
working with Mike Maples, we're gonna go out for, request for proposals on a preliminary engineering review, a PER,
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
Okay, and so I know you know them because Great West does that stuff for you and everything else. So we have the funds, the tennis board has the funds to pay for that project, but Mike is gonna help lead that up so we get a usable product.
Okay.
So, hopefully that'll go out next week, and we'll get started on that. So it's
Fabulous.
really gonna be good information, how they'll handle the coal slack, and how the courts will sit on the site. So that is one big piece, and then, so what we'll get from that, we'll get more refined design, we'll get some firmer numbers to make sure that we're still planning the right amount of fundraising, and we'll be able to answer any questions you guys, the Parks Board or the council would have in order to proceed with construction.
Okay.
Okay, so the other piece is the fundraising, US Tennis Association has raised for us $140,000 to $150,000. I think they've changed their policy and now they're offering more. So that was a pleasant surprise. Fish,
Yeah.
Wildlife and Parks, as soon as we get them one more map, which Mike is running down with the attorney, then we'll have that 150,000 locked in.
Wow.
And,
There you go.
the other big piece that of course will depend on the council will be the resort tax money.
Okay.
So we've asked for 200,000 and Tom Coots has put that in the committee's budget preliminarily. So that's where it is, and we're gonna just keep tracking on that and make sure that people have the information they need. And that is the end of my update.
I have one
Love it.
additional update that I'll throw into that. When we had started out this process, the thought was that it was going to be, we would lease the land to the high school, kind of like they have, and then they would have the maintenance for it.
Mm-hmm.
There is a concern that if this is basically a school project, then we ought not to be investing city dollars in it beyond what the land is. So it may be that it's still that net result, but the mechanism to get there is that it's an MOU for maintenance that gives them priority use of it as opposed to. And
Makes
then
sense.
my follow-up question for you guys is, would you like Barb to come and give that presentation tomorrow night, just as an update to keep council, or are you comfortable doing that on her behalf, or what's your two thoughts?
We got this.
I think with including this in the packet is, I feel comfortable unless you.
Yeah, unless it didn't go in the packet ahead of.
No, it
It'll-
didn't go, but it.
But we can have
can-
it in the
yeah,
packet
yeah,
for
yeah.
next go, and then I can have
Sure.
this for tomorrow where I
I
can.
feel a need to be there.
Yeah.
If-
I
if-
certainly
Again,
can.
don't put on your shoes.
Don't put your
If-
shoes
if-
on.
If you want to come or if you want to be remote, you are welcome to do that and,
Oh, okay.
and then do this tomorrow if not.
Okay.
So,
Okay,
always forever.
great, and we've been to the Parks Board every time, so Andrew also is
Mm-hmm.
up on this.
Yeah,
All right,
fabulous.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you so much.
Lovely. All right, is anybody, oh, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, anybody else in the room?
Any questions online? I see no hands, no unmuted mics.
Okay,
Madam Chair.
I'm gonna adjourn that meeting. Fabulous. Thank you, folks. Thank you for sticking around a little bit later. Appreciate that as always.